wait for you all to join me. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Not too bad today, but I'm a little bit late. I'm going to wait for you all to join me before I'm going to put some magic cream on while I'm waiting for you all to join me. Where is my magic cream? It's here somewhere. Excuse me a second. Right. Let's wait for you all to join me. Put on some magic cream. Hello, Stacey. My peach blush arrived today. I rang them up and they said it's out for delivery today. It's just arrived. I haven't even had a chance to look at it yet. So we can look at it together. You've got yours now, haven't you? I'm just putting on some magic cream. Now, Stacey, I was just about to say, I was waiting for people to join me, so I'll probably repeat this. Apologies that I'm in my old furry top thing again. It was, but she said, they rarely come in succession. She said they always come in a different order. It must be where their supplies are. Apologies, I've got this top on again, and I know it's not completely glamorous, but I am absolutely freezing in my house, and I'm trying not to have the heating up at full blast because my energy bill this month was £350 for the month, and because of my disability I get cold for two reasons. One, I've got very poor circulation in my legs anyway, due to the lymphedema and the neurological deficit in my legs. And secondly, because I'm not moving around, I'm not walking like everybody else, then, you know, you get colder. And so I'm really cold. So if you see a lot of videos with me in this, please be kind. I know it's not the most glamorous top in the world, but it's warm and it keeps me warm. And by the way, if anyone wants to know where to get one of these, it really does keep you warm, and it's got big pockets in it. I got this from Amazon, and they're really crafty though, Amazon. I got mine when I heard that the energy bills were going up. So I bought mine in the summer, and this cost me about £35. But as soon as winter came and there was lots more talk on the news about energy bills, they put these up to 50. Really crafty of Amazon. But it does really keep you warm. So I know it's not super glamorous, but apologies. I just have to keep warm. My hands are absolutely freezing right now. Anyway, do you want to see the peach and the pink, Stacey? And I can do a little comparison of the peach and the pink with the Charlotte Tilbury peach and pink. Hello, Nina, from a Premier Inn. Nina, did you get your room sorted out? Did they move you? So Nina posted yesterday that they'd stuck her in an accessible room that had the telly to her right. It didn't notify you. Well done, because I've only just come on. Still in the same room. Premier Inn, shame on you. If you're watching Premier Inn, I am a disabled beauty blogger, and you don't think out your accessible rooms. You never have done, because I stayed in a Premier Inn, as I was saying, Nina, yesterday, and you can... My phone just rang and I'm not answering it. It's full, apparently. Yes, but it's not about it being full, is it, Nina? It's not about them getting you another room. It's about the design of the room that you're in, isn't it, really? I stayed in a room where everything was accessible except for the makeup mirror. Everything was at wheelchair height except for the makeup mirror. And you can imagine what I had to say about that as a disabled beauty blogger. So I said the assumption is that disabled people don't care what they look like. And they don't need to look at their hair while they're drying it. You know, because there was a hairdryer next to the mirror. There is an assumption. It's like, but the telly being to the right of the bed, that's just poor design. Because they could have easily sent somebody to move that wardrobe, unless it's screwed on the wall, move that wardrobe and move the telly. They could have done that last night while you were having dinner. So, now, Stacey talked me into getting these blushes. It's just lack of thought. And do you know what I would say about the thing is, I don't blame them and I do blame them. Right, I'll tell you why I don't blame them, and then I'll tell you why I do blame them. I don't blame people designing disabled, accessible rooms or whatever for not knowing about these things, because unless you actually are on four wheels, you do not think about these things. I never used to think about dropped curbs until I needed a dropped curb. Even though I was disabled, I never gave drop curbs a second thought until I started to use a mobility scooter. And then I thought about drop curbs. Okay? So I don't blame them for not being able to think things through like that, because unless you've had a disability, you can't think things through. What I blame them for is that there's a very simple solution to that. Is that before you design these rooms, you get somebody with a disability that uses a wheelchair and has got other sensory disabilities. You get a little working party together. You take them up to the room and you ask for their opinion. And then it would be fine. Because it's taken what? It's taken one visitor to that room to tell them the bleeding obvious. A visitor who has got access needs to tell them what's wrong. That's all that they need. So that's why I blame them. I don't blame them for not knowing themselves. I blame them for not consulting with the people that are going to need to use that room. Right, rant over. I've just put on some magic cream. And I thought what I would do is I'll put on some foundation, but I'm going to show you these blushes and do a little comparison with the Charlotte Tilbury blushes. And also I thought, as we're talking blushes, I might do a little comparison with the powder blushes. I didn't get her cream blushes out because I thought there's a lot of these blushes coming out at the moment. And people might be thinking, oh, I've got powder blushes. Which blush is right for me? And these ones, like, they look very similar, don't they, to Charlotte Tilbury, which they are in the way that they're dispensed, but they're very different in their formula. And different people would like these better than the Charlotte Tilbury ones, and different people would like the Charlotte Tilbury ones better than these ones. So I thought, let's talk a bit blushes. But I'm just going to put on some foundation. Now, I'm feeling a little bit uptight as well. So I'm going to warn you about that. Now, Nina will understand this, as will a few of you. Is I put my car in this morning, as you know, if you've seen my live. I put my car in this morning to get the hoist adjusted because I've got a new mobility scooter and the hoist won't work with the new. Morning from the USA. Morning, Nicola. So the hoist will not work with my new with my new scooter. Because so what happened is my old mobility scooter, which had a broken tiller, which is the thing at the front that you hold on to, it had a broken tiller which I needed to get fixed, but it was also getting quite old and a little bit worn down. And I thought it's about time I upgraded it. So I've got an upgrade of the scooter. It's really good. It's got a lot better shock absorption and stuff. And let me, while I'm talking to you guys, let me try and get this foundation on. Let's put a bit of Flawless on today. I haven't put Flawless on for a while. So I bought this new scooter, but the old scooter had these screws at the side of the scooter. So the hoist came down and it's got a bar across, and then it comes down and there's two clips. You clip those onto the screws and then it grabs hold of the scooter and up you go with the hoist, right? Simple. The new scooter doesn't have these screws at the side, which means that I can't lift it in and out using my hoist. So I took it to the people that installed the hoist because they're really good. They do all sorts of, I'm going to give them a shout out because although they're in Colchester, I think that they sort of do quite a bit nationally for Motability and stuff. They do all sorts of adaptations for your car. They put in hand controls, or they adjust your foot controls. They do all sorts. So I took it to them and they went, we've not seen this new model before. I said, oh my God, you're making me nervous now. And they said, no, it's all right. We'll work it out somehow. But actually, we don't think we need to adjust. If we adjust your hoist and we put on a carabiner hook that attaches to the handle, it's going to make it quite wobbly when you get in and out, and it's not really going to be that stable. What we really need to do ideally is work out a way of getting these bolts into the side of your scooter. And I said, I agree. And they said, I think we know how to do it. Can you leave your scooter with us? So I have driven off with no scooter in my car and left my scooter with them. And I'm now feeling really vulnerable because if I suddenly get a call from the school or anything emergency, I can't do anything. I'd have to pull out. I'd have to go into the, I have got in the shed, I've got a manual folding scooter. So in an absolute emergency, I do have a backup, but it's making me feel nervous because it's like someone's taken my legs in for servicing. So my legs are now 5 miles away and they're servicing my legs. And without them, I can't do much at all. I suddenly thought on the way back, oh, I need to go and grab some petrol and pick up some groceries. And I was about to pull in and I thought, I can't, because I can't get out the car. So I'm feeling, it's all right. I did a Deliveroo, a delivery order, and I don't feel guilty because I didn't have any choice but to do a delivery and get it ordered to me and stuff. But that feeling of just feeling like you're depending on someone else to become independent again. And it's scary. It's really scary. If you can't walk any distance without help, it just really freaks you out. You love Deliveroo for when you're having a can't get out day. Yes. Aren't they just a lifesaver? I don't know what we did before them, to be honest. So big shout out to Deliveroo. Do you know what? I was going to put that on with the brush, but I ended up putting it on with my hands. Anyway, so that's Airbrush Flawless, shade 7 Neutral. And just interestingly, again, if you've not been following me for years and years and years, which I know quite a few of you do, they even deliver medicine, do they? Oh, what, things like paracetamol. You don't mean prescriptions, though, do you? I was matched to shade 7.5 warm at the launch of this, and I rarely use 7.5 warm unless it is really, really sunny and I've got a tan. I now use 7 Neutral. Right. So there is my foundation. Now, I'm not going to put powder on, although I am going to put some of this. I thought I'd lost this, the Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer. I want to try this again because I think I'm going to go up a shade. I got 6.5 medium, and it is actually a little bit too light for me. But I wanted to try it again. I thought I'd lost it. I want to try it again because I think I might get shade 7 in this. It's okay. I can kind of adapt things to make it work, but it really is a little bit light, I think. Tell me what you think. Does it smell funny? What, the concealer? I know what you mean. I've not noticed the smell before. It smells a little bit like... It smells a little bit like you've had a pot of Nivea for 10 years in your cupboard and you open it and give it a sniff. It does, actually. It's, I think, do you know what it is? I reckon I know what that is. Now, I might be wrong. But I reckon that somebody can do a bit of research while I say this, because I've forgotten what ingredients are in Beautiful Skin Concealer. It smells to me like almond oil. And almond oil has got that little bit of a whiff to it that makes you think it might have gone off. Yeah, I think, so Nina was saying that if it's too light under her eyes, it accentuates the lines, which of course it would, because you're highlighting an area that you actually want to minimise. But what I tend to do when I've got, as I said, again, I'm repeating myself from videos before, what I tend to do, if I've got a concealer that's making me look a little stark like that, is if you then use it to highlight the middle of your nose, and you put a bit there, and you put a bit there, and a bit in the middle of your chin, and a bit up there, then it sort of makes it look like it's your natural highlight of your face. But I think I'm definitely going to get shade 7. I don't think they've got neutrals and that, have they? I think shade 7 will be all right. Jojoba, sunflower, and I knew that Nina would look it up. Sunflower and mimosa floral waxes. It could be the sunflower. I thought it smelt a bit like almond oil. So it's the oils in it that can... Sometimes they just sort of smell a little bit unpleasant. But in a way, I'm not too worried about that, and I'll tell you why. Because what happens is when you get that very earthy smell of an oil, what a lot of manufacturers often do is they try and cover it up with fragrance. And actually, if you're putting something under your eyes, you don't want something with a lot of synthetic fragrance in it. So, yeah, the castor oil, yeah. So the fact that it smells a little bit, it is that kind of unrefined oil. The fact that it smells a little bit like that doesn't worry me, because it means that they haven't tried to mask it with lots of synthetic fragrance, given that you're putting it near your eyes. Anyway, a little bit too light. I'm going to get shade 7, definitely. And just also to let you know is I put a little bit of this 4.5 Flawless Filter on, I think. Did I? I can't remember now if I did. I'm going to put a little bit there on my cheeks, on my cheek peaks. Now, I don't really like shade 4.5, and I still haven't done that video for you guys about all the different shades of Flawless Filter, but I will do very shortly. Let's just put a little bit on my cheeks. Give me a bit of a glow. Right. Okay. I'm not going to put any powder on because I'm going to show you these Laura Geller. Now these, as I say, Stacey told me about these. And then she sent me, because I said, oh yeah, well, you know, maybe I'm trying to be a good girl and not go too mad. And I ordered one shade and then thought, oh, actually, I quite like the other shade, and ordered the second shade. And when I got the first shade through, I thought, oh, I'm glad that I ordered the other shade now, because they're really nice. Now, let's start with the similarities with Charlotte Tilbury. You can see that the dispenser is very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury new matte blushes. So the dispenser is like a sponge dispenser. It doesn't have the open and shut thing. What it has is it's a bit like her Magic Away wand, that you click it to bring some product up into the thing, but there's no closing it. Okay, and it does what is really good, and I think Charlotte Tilbury should think about this, is it comes with a spare sponge. So if your sponge gets really yucky or it starts degrading because it's got too soggy, you can change the sponge. Definitely they should take note of that. Now, so that's the sort of similarity with Charlotte Tilbury. They're also quite similar shades, as I'll show you in a minute. Where the difference is this is a blush serum. So it's a lot thinner in texture, but it's also not matte. It's more of a glow. And I actually really love this because it looks really, really natural. And you can wash the sponges, Stacey said, as well. So you can put one of them on, wash the other one, and then put it back. So they're replaceable, you know, you can just change them round. So I think that's a lot more hygienic. Now I'm going to show you the pink. Now this is very similar. Let me just show you this first on my arm. Now you're going to see immediately, hopefully, it's not actually that apparent, but it isn't matte. It's quite a liquidy formula. And it's quite similar to the Pillow Talk matte blush. Have you found any news? Yes, they're coming out on the 16th of February, Nina. Stacey told me, which is a bit bemusing given that they're coming out 2 days after Valentine's Day. I don't really know what their marketing team were thinking of. Right, that's Pillow Talk, the new matte blush from Charlotte Tilbury. And that is, this is Laura Geller. And it's a serum blush cheek tint. Right? So you can see they're quite similar shades. Now, obviously, Pillow Talk looks a bit darker. But remember, I've swatched a thick line on my arm. And once you blend them out, they're not going to look that dissimilar to one another. Okay? But I'm going to show you the difference. And, you know, I'm going to end up going to pick up my scooter with 2 different brands of makeup on each side. But I'm going to show you the difference. So let's start with the Charlotte Tilbury matte blush, which I shall put on this side, and I shall dab it with my fingers. I do love this shade. I think this shade, Pillow Talk, will suit anyone. Now, because I'm putting it over a glow, and I put it over a bit of Flawless Filter, it won't look too matte because I put it over Flawless Filter. But it is a matte blush. Now, the advantage of a matte blush over this serum one is, of course, because it's matte, it's definitely going to last longer. Like, if I've left those 2 swatches now on my arm, I can guarantee that that is going to dry down, and you're going to see a very definite line, whereas this one is probably not, because it's more of a kind of skincare hybrid. And that's the other thing to say. This is more of a skincare hybrid. It's got hyaluronic acid in it, and it's sort of, you know, like a serum. So that's Pillow Talk. Now I'm going to show you the Laura Geller. And the Laura Geller pink shade is called Practical Pink. And this just looks lovely because it looks really natural as well. You know, if you want to put some blush on, but you don't want it to be obvious that you're wearing blush, it just looks like your cheeks, but better. Can you see, like, it blends in a lot better? It looks less like a blush and more like your own skin. So that's the Laura Geller. That's the Charlotte Tilbury. Can you see that looks a little bit more like blush? Which there's nothing wrong with that, but that looks a little bit more like, that's just my skin, I haven't got any makeup on, kind of thing. So it's a personal choice, but this might not last as long. It depends. Again, if you want it to last a bit longer, then what you would do is you'd put your powder over the top. And it might take down a little bit of the glowiness, but it will make it last longer. Whereas the Charlotte Tilbury is definitely going to last longer because it dries down and it's a matte blush. The way to get the best of both worlds, obviously, with the Charlotte Tilbury is to put it over something glowy, and then it's going to give you that glow still, but it's going to last longer. So that is that. Now, the other one, which has just arrived this morning, is Poppy Peach. So they only do 2 shades. This is available on QVC, and Stacey, remind me, it's 20-something pounds. Is it long lasting on you? Remind me how much this cost from QVC. Now, you see what I mean? Now, what you have to do is just start. She says, I've forgotten. Oh, there we go. You just start twisting until it comes up. You're wearing Balance and Brighten and her mascara. Ah, you've got her mascara and Balance and Brighten on. Now, the other thing I haven't tried yet, which, as I said, if I hadn't had an energy bill for 350 quid, I might be more tempted to try a few more bits and pieces of makeup. But the other thing that I wanted to try is Revolution. I've got a dupe of the Charlotte Tilbury blush ones, and they're £6 each. And it's always good to find a good drugstore dupe these days, isn't it? Right, there we go. Now, let's just give you a little swatch of that. Oops. So this is like a peachy pink. So that's going to be like the peach one of Charlotte Tilbury's, which I will show you to compare. Peach Pop. That's going to be like Peach Pop. The other thing I wanted to tell you all about is, you know that I'm a big fan of Daniel Sandler, and one thing I've noticed about Daniel Sandler is he doesn't do as much marketing, like when he's got new products and stuff. And you say, now that looks a lot more coral, and this looks a lot more natural, obviously. So those are the different shades there. Daniel Sandler, if anybody has rosacea, and I think a few of you do have rosacea here, Daniel Sandler's just brought out a new product. Now, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, he brought out a product that got really good reviews called the Anti-Redness Primer. So it's a primer, but it's got green in it. And now green counteracts red because it's the opposite on the colour wheel. Okay, it's had really good reviews. You've got rosacea, banana noodle, definitely listen to this. Now, I would always vouch for Daniel Sandler's products. People have not heard of Daniel Sandler because he's not one, as I said, that spends thousands of pounds on telly adverts and whatever. But he is a makeup artist. My eyes are starting to water now. He's a makeup artist, a really good makeup artist. And if you were around in the 80s, you would have heard of Daniel Sandler. He's made up some really like famous people. I'm not sure about this, but I wouldn't be surprised if he'd made up Diana. He certainly made up Jade Goody on her wedding day. And he's been a long time makeup artist, really talented. His products are superb. His watercolor blushes, which I mentioned last week, are superb. They're just not as kind of user-friendly because they're in a bottle and you've got to shake it, but they look beautiful on the skin. Now, he's just brought out a new product. Do go over and watch his video. He's brought out a new product, which is anti-redness concealer. Now, his concealers are brilliant, and they're the only concealers that my sister will use. I tend to not use his concealer as much because I found them perhaps not as heavy coverage as I'd like. I quite like not heavy coverage, but I like a reasonably full coverage concealer. His are more medium coverage, but my sister loves his concealer. Now, this is a concealer, but it's got a green tint in it, so it will counteract the red. If you go onto YouTube, not now because you're watching me, but if you go onto YouTube and look up Daniel Sandler, he's just brought out this, and he's demonstrating it on his YouTube channel. So look up Daniel Sandler Beauty and you will see. I'm going to link it below. He's been so supportive of me that I like to support him. But I only support people that I think make good products. I wouldn't just blindly support anyone. And he does. I mean, I've really got no particular reason other than the few red bits that I've got around my nose, the thread veins, to buy the new anti-redness concealer. But I might be tempted to try it soon anyway, just to work on the bits around my nose. But I would vouch that it's a good product. The Laura Geller blush is nice on me, isn't it? Let's just, do you know what? I'm just going to put a bit of the peach over the top of the pink, because I just want to see what it looks like. And it looks like it's quite buildable. So let's just try a bit of poppy peach. See, now that looks pink, doesn't it? But it is poppy peach. It's a pinky peach. That's why I thought it would look very like the Charlotte Tilbury one. See, I like that as well. I think this might just go in my car makeup kit. You know, for when you're out and about and you pull in somewhere and you want to quickly put a bit of makeup on, but you don't want to look like you've got a lot on. You just want to look a bit more alive. That's going to be my kind of go-to. Either that or the... I'm glad I got the pink one, though, because I think that probably shows up a bit more on my skin. Now, as you can see, this already is less movable. This is a little bit more... You can move it around the skin. Also, it feels very, very cooling. So if you've got dryness on your cheeks, as a lot of us do with the central heating, whatever, if you find that your cheeks are quite dry, then this is one to consider because it's got hyaluronic acid in it and it feels very cooling and very moisturising. Okay, so that's the Laura Geller one. Just thought it would be good to compare it. Now, can I swatch Pink Pop next to it, please? What, the two together? You mean the two... Which ones? The two Laura Gellers together? Stacey, which ones do you want me to swatch next to one another? These have got quite a strong smell. They smell a bit nail varnishy, these. Which doesn't sound very good, does it? But they do smell a bit nail varnishy. Strange. Stacey, which ones do you want? CT Pink and LE Peach. Right, yes. CT Pink. What, CT Pillow Talk? Oh, no, the Pink Pop. I know what you mean now. I've got you. Now, I just said apologies to everyone. I'm so cold in my house. And I'm trying to not put the heating on full blast because my energy bills were through the roof. There's the Pink Pop. And here's Peach, the Peach, Poppy Peach from Laura Geller. So, yeah, well spotted, quite similar. And then the other one's more of a purpley pink. I think pink and peach is the wrong description for these Laura Gellers. I think one should have been a kind of peachy pink. One should have been described as peach pink. And the other one should have been described as purple pink or something. Because they're both pink, really. It's just they're different. You can see next to one another, that does look more peach. So you've got Charlotte Tilbury Pink Pop, Laura Geller, the peachy one, Laura Geller, the pink one. And then on here you've got Charlotte Tilbury. I can tell by feeling them. No, that's not. That's Charlotte. Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, which you can see what I mean now. That's not going to move. Then the Laura Geller pink one, which is still movable, still workable a little bit. Obviously not completely, but you can move that a lot more still, whereas that has completely dried. And then you've got the peach one, and then you've got the Charlotte Tilbury Peach Pop, which again, see, it's a lot more pigmented. That's the other thing. It's a lot more pigmented, the Charlotte Tilbury one. Yeah, it's described as a pinky peach, yeah. They're both good, and I'm going to get plenty of use out of them. I wish my eye would stop watering. And then, of course, you've got the powder blushes. Don't forget your powder blushes. You've got all these powder blushes from Charlotte Tilbury. Now, powder blushes, there's still a place for those. And you can still make them look glowy. Again, it's just about what you put underneath it. So if you want something to last a bit longer throughout the day, then you might want to put on a powder blush. And this is where I wish I had 6 cheeks. But like, if I take Ecstasy, Ecstasy is going to be very similar to these peachy pinks. If I can find Ecstasy. Or you can layer it over your liquid ones. So this is Pillow Talk, isn't it? This is the Laura Geller. You can now put your powder over the top of it, your powder blush. And then by layering it up, just make sure that you tap off the excess, because otherwise it might stick in one clump. But you can actually just put your Ecstasy blush over the top. And that's going to last you throughout the day because you kind of set it with a similar colour. And again, if I do that with this side, now this side's a bit more liquidy, so just make sure again you tap off the excess. Do I have the lip and cheek in Colour of Dreams? I knew you were going to say that because I said it's the only thing I haven't got out. But I'll see. I might have it. Yes. Oh. Just bear with me a second and I'll see if I can get it for you. If I can get my hands on it quickly. then yes. And do excuse all the laundry in the background, as usual. Mick helps me to do the laundry, but he then piles it all up behind my makeup area. Drives me nuts. But I can't complain because he helps me with my laundry. Okay, 1 second. I'll be right back. There's all sorts in the background here. Right. Yes, I have Colour of Dreams. Here we go. You have so much laundry hanging around drying. Don't blame it. The thing is, people can't afford to put their dryers on these days. Right, that's Colour of Dreams. So, let's swatch it under here. I have a feeling this is going to be like Pillow Talk and like the pink Laura Geller. Yeah. Very similar. Your room looks like a bomb has gone off in it. Oh, well, that's good then. I'm less guilty. So, yeah, it's very like the Pillow Talk and I don't know what the equivalent would be in the powder blushes of Charlotte Tilbury, but it's very like the Pillow Talk. Trying to think what it would remind me of in terms of the Cheek to Chic blushes. Possibly not Love Is the Drug, not Ecstasy. Let's have a look at... No, that's too warm, you see. Probably that's the nearest, but it's too peachy, that one. Possibly the Pillow Talk one. Why is my eye watering? Now, is this the concealer that's doing this? Does anyone else find that the new concealer from Charlotte Tilbury makes her eyes water? Excuse me a minute. I'm just going to find my tissue or do something to wipe my eyes off camera. Right. Let's put on a little bit of something on my eyes. You do. So it's the concealer then. It's probably the oils. But again, the oils will make your skin look better and it will less define your wrinkles. So those are sort of the differences between all the blushes. Yeah, I need to just make sure I don't get it too close to my eyes. Now, I haven't got a lot of eyeshadow near to me, but I do have a palette here. So I'm going to use the palette that is near to me. And I was in the mood for a certain lipstick today. So I got it and I put it by the side of me. And the lipstick I was in the mood for was K-Romance. I suddenly thought, oh, I haven't worn that for a while. I'm going to put K-Romance on. And actually it goes quite nicely with this blush, which is quite similar. I know I've got two different blushes on, but I don't think it's going to look that obvious. Except this one might start to fade a bit more than this one. But I can always touch it up later. This is still, by the way, the Colour of Dreams. It's a really good comment from Stacey. This is also really good blush. So you've got your cream blushes. You've got your kind of more of a liquid matte blush. You've got your liquid serum blush. And you've got your powder blushes. Not sure if I need the CT blushes now, as I would make it a glowy look with a highlighter anyway. Well, this is the thing. It helps you to decide whether you need all these things. I mean, I was thinking, do I really need the 2 Laura Geller blushes when I've just bought all the matte ones? But I'm actually glad, because I think I'll use them in a different situation. So I think, you know, with the Charlotte Tilbury, I'd probably use it when I'm going for a full makeup. Whereas with the Laura Geller, I think it's something I might kind of pop on in the car when I've just gone to my foot health appointment and I've got to the other end and think, oh, I look a bit pale. I just want to kind of brighten up my face. So I think I will use them in different scenarios. So it's not a waste of money. Just putting these back. Now, the palette that I've got out is this one, the Super Nudes. Super Nudes. So I'm going to use Super Nudes. This is a very good palette to have. You know, if you're thinking about what couple of palettes would be really versatile and I could use from Charlotte Tilbury, and you've never bought from Charlotte Tilbury before and you're overwhelmed with choice, I'd say Super Nudes and Charlotte Darling, and you've got some really good looks. You've got money off at Sephora. Yeah, I've got money off Charlotte Tilbury at Sephora as well. I keep forgetting. So I'm just going to put... Now, this is a really good transition shade. See, that concealer's creased up, which often happens because I've got hooded lids. So I'm going to put this on as a transition. Now, this is a good transition shade if you're, say, using a blue or a green and you've got a bit of a stark line there. It's really good to use it as a transition shade to kind of just blend out a shadow at the top. And what I fancy doing is a little bit of a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed look, except I haven't got all the products with me, but we'll have to play it by ear. And Jack still hasn't put my Christmas tree away, which means that I'm having to climb round it to get to some of my makeup. He so got off the hook today, by the way, because he was desperate for me not to go to parents' evening. And of course I can't go now because I haven't got my scooter. And he was making up all sorts of fibs last night to try and stop me going. He said the school's put steps on the front because he said it looks more aesthetically pleasing. I said, I don't believe you. He goes, no, they have. And then he made up some other excuse. And I said, Jack, you're making all of this up because you don't want me to go. Because he's going through that phase at the moment where he's challenging authority. So if the teacher says don't do that, he comes back with, but why? I wasn't doing... And he just keeps getting detentions because he keeps talking back. And some of the time, I've got to tell you, some of the time, I'm just putting this dark shadow in the corner. Some of the time, I've got to tell you, I try not to show that I'm actually sort of secretly laughing. Because I obviously, you know, want to support the teachers. If they're trying to discipline him and teach him good manners and whatever, I don't want to undermine that. But at the same time, sometimes he tells me things and I have to go in the other room before I laugh because I kind of quite secretly am amused by it. And I know I shouldn't be. But like one day, he's got this class that he does. And he doesn't get on with the teacher. And he said the reason he doesn't get on with her is she's not a very good teacher. which kind of rings bells with me. I used to do really well in classes where the teacher was good, but if the teacher's no good, then he doesn't really get on with them. And he was forced to do Spanish, and he hated Spanish, but they don't offer any other languages in his school. And the teacher wasn't very good, but she was Spanish, so she probably couldn't understand why people weren't getting what she was, learning, because for her, it was her first language. And so every week I'd get a call from his Spanish teacher saying, oh, he's done something in class. And I'd say, I'm really sorry. I'll have another word with him. And I said, he just doesn't want to do Spanish. I said, I know, but there is no other option. And I said, I know. And, so it kind of went on like this. He's not doing Spanish anymore because he's now done his options and he didn't choose Spanish. But one day he came back and he said he walked into class and he was 2 minutes late. And as he walked in, the teacher said, Jack, you're going to get a 20-minute detention for being late. Now, what the school do is the first warning, they get a 20-minute detention. The second warning, they get a 40-minute detention or something. And the third warning, they get sent into PLA or something. It's where you basically have to go into a learning area and sit in another classroom. And Jack looked at this teacher and he said, I might as well go straight to PLA then because I hate this class. And he just walked out and went to the PLA. He says, just count me as 2 more detentions, and went into PLA and sat there for the whole lesson. And when he told me, I just said, Jack, that's really cheeky and you shouldn't have done that. And I came out and I laughed my head off. But I didn't let him see it. It's like, well, if you're going to punish me for being late, then I might as well not come at all. And just go straight to PLA, and then I'm not in the class that I hate. I mean, what can you say to that, really, as a teacher? Like, I'm just putting this highlighter on in here. Now, I like this look on brown eyes because then what I would do, this is very like using the Sophisticate palette, because then this is one of my favourite little looks, because then you keep it all very mute and matte. But then what you do is you add your navy blue liner and your eye cheat, which I'm going to see if I can grab. And it's really eye-opening. It's really, really good if you've got hooded lids. Now, the other thing in this palette that I like is it's got a really good black, a black eyeshadow. Really pigmented black. And what's great about a really pigmented black, especially if you've got older lids and they're getting a bit crepey, is you take her eyeliner brush, this one, and you get your black and you literally start to tuck it under the eye. So where the lashes are, you just literally go, and it's like you're doing join the dots. Don't forget your loyalty gift when you get the pop shots. That's good. Stacey's really good at reminding people to get their free gifts. So you see, I'm just going to do this eye so that you can see. And also the reason I'm doing this is because I'm not pressing and I'm not using a liner with lots of waxes. So it's less likely to make my eye water. But it's also making sure that I don't take up what little mobile lid is showing on my hooded lids, but it's intensifying that line. So you see, you're like, I always say, imagine when you're doing this with the liner, don't think I'm putting a line on my lid. Think of I'm tucking my sheets into the bed, right? With the lashes being the edge of the bed, and the eyelid being the top of the bed, and you're tucking it in underneath. Exactly. I think I'm due for another reward. Now, can you see how much of a difference that's made? That's just using the black. Hello there, Granny Beauty and Boxes over 65. Yeah, so tuck your sheets under the bed. That's what this is. Tuck your sheets under the bed rather than drawing a line on the side of your bed. Tuck it in, and you can see it intensifies the look of the eye without you having to use a liner. And it looks like a line. It looks perfect line, even though all I've done is dabbed little dots all the way along. And then if you want, you can do the same underneath for a little bit. Don't take it too far along. But again, just dot it between the lashes. And it just looks so natural. Now, I haven't used the navy. Now, what you could do is use Charlotte's the navy shadow in her blue palette as well, because that would work. But I can always put the navy that I was talking about at the side. So if I can grab that navy liner, the Sleep Cheat one, I can put that at the side, because that will just again make the eye pop. This is a great look, right, if you like to wear makeup for work, but you don't really want to show too much of your personality. You sort of want a smart look for work, but without using too much colour and stuff like that. Or maybe, you know, you can't, it's not the done thing to have too much makeup on at work, because all this does is it accentuates the shape of your eye, but it doesn't make you look like you're plastered in makeup. And then what I do as well, this is the lazy girl's trick. I clean off this brush like this, and I take the dark brown in this palette and then do my brows with it. So I don't have to reach for lots of different products. Yeah, it's Stacey was saying, if you don't need the gift, you can always sell it on eBay, which is a very good point. I need to start selling a few bits on eBay, because I've got loads of things from those subscription boxes that I've not used that I could be selling. What I tend to do is save them up for birthday gifts and stuff, so I don't have to go and buy birthday gifts, because I've got so much stuff. Has anyone seen Bushra? I've been meaning to check in on Bushra, because I said I was going to send her some night cream. Bushra, if you're watching this on replay, message me on Instagram your address if you haven't done already. I might have missed it, but if you haven't done already, message me your address on Instagram so I can send you some night cream. I've got some night cream samples and I promise them to you. Right, so there's the brown. I've done my brows, and as I said, that great little tip from Katie, Beauty in the Boutique, is to just nudge up the arch of your brow, and it'll give you a bit of an eye lift. Just a little bit over that line. It just lifts the eye a bit. Now I'm going to get my blue liner. Just bear with me again while you look at my laundry. Do you have a TikTok? I can't handle TikTok. I do have TikTok. So Banana Noodle or anyone watching me, it's really easy. I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I don't do Facebook. There's a reason I don't do Facebook for my channel, right? But I have TikTok, I've got Instagram, I've got Twitter. Yeah, and I've got YouTube. And I'm Ali M's Beauty on all of them. Every one of them, I'm Ali M's Beauty. So just look up Ali M's Beauty and you'll find me on any of those. That's my handle on all of them. I managed to get Ali M's Beauty for all of them, which was great because, you know, it's very easy to go on these sites and then find that that handle's been taken. But yeah, I'm Ali M's Beauty, just ALIMSBEAUTY. And also, if you look in my description bar, at the bottom, there's links to each of them. So you can just click on the links on the bottom of my description bar. I'm just going to get my liner, my Sleep Cheat liner from Charlotte Tilbury. Bear with me. I have done a TikTok and I'm going to do a few more. So recently, I've done more than a TikTok, but I meant recently. I'm gonna do a little shorter version of that one I did on the colour chameleons yesterday, and I'm gonna put a bit more out on TikTok. Those of you that are into true crime, how many of you have been do you know what I keep... Sorry, I'm going to come back to what I was about to say. I keep getting confused because Charlotte Tilbury's got 2 of these liners. No, 3 of them, and they look exactly the same. Look at these. She's got 3 liners that I've got, and they all look exactly the same, but they're not. She's got 3 double-ended liners. One of them's got a black end, which is called Exaggerize, which I wasn't very impressed with. I'll tell you why later. She's got another one that's called Enhance Magnifier, which is sort of a brownie slate grey. I don't exactly know what the difference of that one is with the black one. I think it's just slightly more chocolatey brown. And then she's got the Sleep Cheat one. Now, I like the Sleep Cheat one. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this into my waterline. The other people that do really good inner waterline eyeliner, and it's really reasonably priced. And I need to get some new ones because my other ones are too old to use. But NYX. Now, I don't know whether they still do these, but they did these ones that I really used a lot until they were virtually blunt, you know, at the end. And they were called White with a Touch of. So you could get white with a touch of blue, white with a touch of peach, white with a touch of green. And they were really great for putting in the lower waterline, because they were all kind of bright like this, but they all had a slightly different touch of something in. So the white with a touch of blue was really good because it really brightened the eyes. So if you had a blue eyeshadow on, you could put that on. I don't know if they still do those, but they really last quite a long time and they're really affordable as well. Oh dear. Hold on a second. Where's that tissue gone? Where's the tissue that I was using? I know what I'm going to do. Something terrible. Jack's got his washing to go in the laundry. I'm going to use that. Don't tell him because it's getting washed, so he won't know. Right. Now this eye's watering. Oh, right, that's just eye water. Right. Now I'm just going to put this in the corner because this is the navy and that's going to make it pop a bit more. So I don't need to put that all the way along, but can you see the difference when you put the navy as to when you got the black? It just makes it pop a little bit more. And then I'm going to finish off with this Nude Romance lipstick. And I'm going to leave it at that because I quite like that. It's kind of a subtle, sophisticated look today. Not a lot of colour on my eyes. Not a hint of shimmer. But I quite like it. It's quite eye-opening. I do need to put on mascara, but I'm not going to put it on now or my eyes are really going to start streaming and it's just all going to run off. So I wait for my eyes to calm down and then I'll put it on. But this is Nude Romance. Probably needed my lip liner for that. That really brightens up the look. I'm going to put some lip liner afterwards as well because you really, with a dark lipstick like that, you do need to line your lips. Unless you're doing the method that I told you last week, which is dabbing it on and making it kind of look rosebuddy and natural. But if you're putting on a thicker layer like that, that's a lot darker on you, is it? If you're putting on a thicker layer like that, you do need a lip liner. Otherwise, you can dab it on or you can blot it. And again, I won't be really cruel to Jack and blot my lipstick on his dirty washing because I might not get that out. Thank you, Granny Beauty. It's so lovely to see you on here. I must pop over and come and see some of your beauty boxes. I've stopped my one beauty box now because I've got a room full of boxes and I'm not as good at giving away. You see, Granny Beauty gives away half of her stuff to her grandchildren. But I wasn't as good at doing that, so I ended up with boxes full of stuff that I can't use. Thank you. Somebody said on here, I got a comment about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, saying, Ali, why is it that every lipstick looks great on you? You've got that sort of face that every lipstick looks great on you. And I replied, then you haven't seen me wearing Nude Kate. If anyone's seen that video where I swatch all the lipsticks and I put on Nude Kate, I look like a corpse. So I can assure you that I don't look great in it. But dark lipsticks, I just love them. But some people just don't feel confident or they just don't like dark lipsticks. I just love them. Now, when I get my mobility scooter back, I'll do you a little video blog and show you my new scooter and the new features it has on it. And you can get to know. Now, my first scooter I called Betty. And then we got a bit upset because we had to give Betty back. And then I thought maybe I shouldn't start calling them names because it makes you too attached. But my last one was called Smarty because the make of it was Smarty. This is a Smarty Plus. So this one is going to be called Smarty P. Smarty P. So I'll do you a little video showing you Smarty P, and then I'll put some lipsticks on that match because I've got some lipsticks. I've got a collection of lipsticks that I bought specifically to match my scooter. And they are all metallic reds. And there's a brilliant one from Jeffree Star that is a metallic red that I use a lot. I had one mixed for me by a MAC makeup artist. She said I can mix 2 lipsticks together to make it look exactly like that. I actually went into a MAC store when I first got my scooter, before I started my channel, and I was trying to cheer myself up with makeup. And it was before I discovered Charlotte Tilbury. And I said, I've just got this mobility scooter, you know, feeling a bit low about my mobility, but I just decided, can you match a lipstick to my mobility scooter? And she said, certainly, this will be great fun. And she went round and she was doing that. No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. And she mixed. She basically said, right, this one and this one mixed together matches it perfectly. Said, right, I'm buying it. And it was one of the MAC, the ones that they sell for charity. I've forgotten. They do some that they sell for charity. It was one of those and another one mixed together. But I've got a kind of little pile of lipsticks that match my scooter. So I'll do a little, I think I'll put the Jeffree Star one on because that is a really good match. But any metallic red matches it, and it's great fun because people look at me and then they look at my lipstick and they look back at me and you can tell what they're thinking. They're thinking, did she really match her lipstick to her scooter? And if they ask me that, I go, yeah, of course I did. Okay, I'm going to get going now. But thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to give these people... Yeah, you'll end up in a mortuary if I wear nude Kate. I'm going to give them a call now and say, is my scooter nearly ready? Please, can I have my scooter back? Can I have my legs back, please? Because that's what it's like. It's definitely like someone's taken my legs away for the day. And yeah, don't forget to like the live, and I'll see you all very soon. I am trying to put out some more videos. I still got a lot going on with my dad and stuff. So that's taking up a lot of time at the moment. But I will be doing a few more lives because I definitely love doing them for you guys. And I'll see you all very soon. Take care. Mwah.